So what you'll see here with this structure board is all of the releases are attached to fixed versions. So you've got the fixed versions here. Okay. Now with the structure board, you can group them in multiple ways. So the way that I've done this is I've first of all grouped by project, by sprint, and then by resource. Okay. And then when you come under all of those groupings, you'll have the tickets. Now the tickets, you can see the amount of progress that's been made. If you want to put a status comment in, for example, you can put it in here and you can do save and it'll save it to the ticket. If you want to come over here, for example, you can jump into the release itself and you can see all the tickets that are in that particular release. You can change the dates here if you want to. You can change the releases if you've got more than one release and you don't think it's going to make it into the release. You can do that from this board as well. And this has multiple, as I said, multiple different projects. So you can see here, 1, 2, 3 projects. It's a program view. All right, so if we now move on to the structure board, which is for capacity. Okay, so in here, this structure board is grouped by resource, project, sprint, and what priority it is. Okay, so what you have over here is you have the original estimate and you have remaining estimate, and you can actually book your time into the tickets. If you come over here and you want to change the original estimate,
yep, gone from 2 weeks to 3 weeks. Yep.
Yep. What it does is it will actually roll it up. So the amount of work for that particular priority is, 3 weeks more. So is the sprint, and so is the project. But you'll also see that you've got the resource here. You can see how much time is already estimated for that resource in the entire project. Okay, so you can do that with each of the different ones. You can change the releases from here as well if you want to. You just need to click into it. You can change the dates. Pretty simple. Okay, so if we move on. Okay, so the Program Dependency Management Structure Board. So at the moment, there are dependencies between different projects and on the same project. So this is actually grouped by the project priority. And what you'll see here is the status of each of the dependencies. And you can see whether it's actually blocking something else, like that one is, or you can see whether it is being blocked by something else. So that's really handy for just being able to manage your dependencies and have a look at what's blocking what, so that you can chase people up about the dependencies. You can, in this view as well, you can change the resource if you want to, so the assignee. You can change the team if you want to. At the moment, it's not doing it, but okay, you can come over here and you can do notes. So you can put whatever notes you want to in there. Maybe, I don't know, chase someone up about something, put a date in there as to when, and save, and it'll save it. What you'll find is you've also got dates. You can change all of the dates from this board. You don't have to go into the ticket itself. Okay. If we now move down to Jira plans. Okay, so if we have a look at the program timeline. So the program timeline, this has all of the different projects in it, and you can squirrel down to what's actually in the epics and that sort of stuff. But what you'll find here is you've got your status. You can create new issues within those projects as well to link them to the epics. What you'll also find is that you can create a dependency in here. You can move the scheduling out for a particular item or a particular epic. And the little plus signs here, you can put your dependencies in. Caused or blocked, whichever one. If you scroll further, if you go further down, you can see when everything's scheduled in. You can see that you've already got dependencies in there, what's linked to what. You can also have your BAU stuff. So you've got your incidents, your defects, your bugs, all that sort of stuff in one project in the program timeline. All scheduled in. You can see when they're ready for dev and all that sort of stuff through there. Let me just update that. It'll also tell you when you need to, for these plans, you actually do need to save your changes, otherwise you won't, it won't keep your changes, not like the structure board. Okay. If we do the release. Okay, so what you'll find here is you can have cross-project releases, which is essentially a program release. And you can see whether it's on track or off track. You can see the start date, the end date of the release. Now, each of the different project releases themselves, because these are project releases down here, they are linked to the fixed version. Okay, so you put a particular fixed version on a ticket, they will end up in here. Now, what you can do, it's very similar to what you do with the releases already, is you can click in there and you can actually see what's actually in the release. Okay, so if we go down to resource management timeline. Okay, so what you'll see here is it's very similar to what we had in the structure board, only thing is it doesn't roll up. So you won't get to see the total of all of these for that resource in here. That's why I like the structure board better. But what you can do is you can change the estimate in there. You can change the priority if you want to in there. You can also, if you've got program release, you got sprints, you can change the sprints in there. You can change the dates if you want to, or take the dates out. What you can do is you can also just change the dates through moving it over to a later time. From here, you can also do your dependencies again. Okay. Okay, so if we do capacity management, it's very similar to the previous one, only you don't have the timeline, but you can change everything that is in here. It's all editable. Now I've got teams in here because it's I find it easier to work with teams as well as the resources rather than just the resources. You know, you can change the sprint. Pretty simple, easy to get around. If you don't want just a list, you can go to the timeline. Now what you'll find here is you can see when something's got a dependency, and you can click there and, oh, there's my dependency. I might want to chase that up, or you can add another one in. So if we go back to the list. All right, and so we go to one of the project timelines. This is an individual project timeline, okay? What you can see here is you can see the epics, and you can see when something is scheduled outside of an epic, which is linked to an epic because you have that there. So I'm just going to open that up so you can see, oh, look, there's a few, okay? So you can actually bring it back inside, or you can actually extend the timeline of the epic. Okay, you can also see dependencies through the little linkages here. You can see what status the tickets are in. You can do different views. So you can do a particular release view if you like. You can view on Epic. Labels if you have any. Ticket type. Don't have any of those at the moment. All right. Okay. Let's move on to the next part. Okay, so I'll take you to another individual project timeline again. Yet again, there are some which have been pushed out because something else has been made a priority. So you can extend that timeline, which is very handy for if a ticket gets put on hold because something else has been made a priority over the top of that, because then you can say, well, it was going to take this much time, but because you've made something else a priority, we've had to schedule something else out of the original date. So we've now had to extend it to this date. Okay. I don't think I need to go through all of those. So we'll go through program boards. Okay, so program sprint board. Now this is a very different one compared to what you're used to, okay? In that this one actually works off teams. So what you'll find is you've got your teams there, which issues that are not assigned to people, but they are assigned to teams. And you've got sprint, the different sprints, so sprint 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can come in here and you can see how many tickets are assigned to the different people. You can come in and you can change the estimate. For example, we might just put that as a 5 there. You can move the tickets around to the different sprints if you want to, bring them in, put them out, as long as you know to save. Yes, refresh, please. There, Jira's playing a little game with me today. Okay. You can double click. You can move things around, column A, B, C, add a dependency, change the team if you want to. From there. Okay. We go to program dependency board. Okay, so what you'll see here is this is the program dependency board. So you can see there are different projects within this board, and you can see the dependencies between the projects. Yet again, you can group it if you want to group it just by the epics, the project, the team, the sprint. You can also only view one particular project if you want to, one particular sprint, a particular issue type. and also by the dependency linkage. You can zoom in, zoom out, whatever you want to do. You can add a dependency in from here as well. Okay, so if we go to the demo summary planning board, so this is something that their Jira puts together automatically for the program, okay? But I have a separate dashboard which I've actually put together, which I'll show you as well. So what you'll find here is you got your different teams down here. You can do it by epic or initiative. You've got all of your dependencies down here as well, and what priorities they are, who they're assigned to, what status they're in. From here, you can also have a look at your different team capacity. Okay, so if we do the Agile program planning board, okay. Now this is Easy Agile, the plugin for Easy Agile. Now what you can see here is you can see a program view of everything that is scheduled in the sprints for each of the different projects. You can see when something has been closed off. You can see when things haven't been moving. You can see that it's got a dependency on it. You can also add dependencies through here as well. Okay, so if we move over here now to team planning, now this is very cool. Okay, so what you'll find here is you can put your team capacity in here, and you can bring out your tickets and you can put them in the sprint. And what it does is it will tally up the story points for the sprint. And if it is over your capacity, it'll tell you it's over by the red. Okay, you can move these around to different sprints if they're not closed off. That one's closed off at the moment, but for example, we can move that one to there. You can change the story points, and it'll total up here. I don't know, team capacity of maybe 25. Take it from there. You'll also be able to, from over here, team backlog. So you can search on all the different things that are in the backlog, and you can click and you can basically drag them into the sprint. So that's really good for sprint planning. Okay. So I've shown you that one and that one now, and that one. Okay, so if we move down to here, so what we've got, I've put together a number of different dashboards. You can do dashboards in our current Jira, but they're not quite as quick and they're not quite as nice looking. Okay, so the program dashboard that I put together, which is very different to what you saw the system actually put together. So you can see here, you've got your priorities and you can see how many tickets are in the priorities. You can even click in these and you'll see a whole list of tickets that were in that priority, and you can edit them from there. Let me bring that back. You can do the same for resources. So you can see how many tickets a particular resource has. Click on that resource and it'll take you to all those tickets. Also the different statuses. When you come down here, you will actually see the different projects that are in that program. You can also see the different releases. And when you come over here, you can see all of the tickets that are actually in that program. And there are a lot. So we won't go through all of that, but you can change, like you can filter on priority, ticket type. If you just want to see a particular ticket type. You can, from here, you can change the status. And you've also got your program structure board, which you can insert in here as well. Now, if we move further down, you can see all of the programs, P2s, P3s, P4s, and you can see which project they're in. Okay. So if we have a look at, for example, the BAU one, so this one doesn't have epics. This one is more defects, incidents, bugs, and you can have tasks in here if you want as well. Okay, so you can see how many of each of those different types you have. You can also see, I've put bug priority in, but you can do it as normal priority, or you can have severity, but you can see, you can group them by that, and you can click on that and it'll take you to all the tickets that have that priority in it. And I've also grouped them over here so that you can have an individual view of all the criticals in the program, all the majors in the program, all the moderates. You can also see all of the different statuses of the tickets in the program itself. And what you'll also see is a created versus closed graph here, which is pretty handy. Okay, so if we now go to priorities. Okay, so this is a priorities dashboard. Okay, so what you'll see is this is just for one particular project at the moment. But what you'll see here is you will have sprint health. So it'll tell you how many tickets closed, how many have been removed, or how many have gone longer than what they should have. It'll tell you, time elapsed, scope change, that sort of thing. And what you'll see over here is basically when you set up your sprint, you'll have a certain number of tickets in there due to your capacity. And you can see when you've actually added tickets to the sprint, because it'll go up. And you can see when tickets are getting closed, because it starts going down. Okay, so what you can see here is yet again, it's assigned to a particular resource, status, progress. You can see those were high priority, these are medium, and these are low. All of these you can click on, easy enough to get into. Okay, so this is a different program dependency board. I don't quite like it as much as the structure board one, but if you want this view, you can have this view, that's fine. You can sort by different priority, sort by ticket type, sort by project key, sort by assignee. You can see the statuses, the different project teams they're assigned to, start dates, due dates, So there's inward dependencies and there's outward dependencies, which you can see here. Okay. Now, if we come down to the different Scrum boards now, there's nothing really too different about the different Scrum boards, except for that the way that it is set up is each sprint is for a month, which is basically at the moment, the BAU releases are monthly. So that's what that's going off of. And the different projects, from what I've seen, have kind of been going on a monthly stream, although recently they've kind of been all over the place. But anyway, from here, what you can see is the different statuses, how many tickets are in the different statuses. You can see ticket type. You can click and drag it into a different one. Pretty easy. It is also by resource. Now, you don't have to have it by resource. You can have it by, let's have a look at one of the other boards, for example. So this is by Epic, this project board. Very similar. Yeah, you can group by any of these here. You can even just filter out the ones that are only on technical for the label, the different issue types, stories, bugs, any quick filters, you'll see them up here. You can see the resource, so you can see who it's assigned to here. You can change things from within here as well. So you can add a flag, you can link an issue, change parent, all that sort of stuff. Pretty simple. Okay. So if we come down here, there are a couple of extra things. Okay, so there's like each project gets its own calendar. So what you can do is you can actually schedule things in here. And you can filter by. So it's pretty handy for saying, well, I've got these things happening here and here, but oh, something else has come in. So where can I fit it in? And lastly, but not least, we have the project risks and issues. So this is a program risks and issues board. If you create a risk or an issue in a particular project, it'll show up here. And you can edit from here. You can click and drag them into the closed if it's closed. Of course, it'll ask you why it's closed. And you can see here, that's one project, that's another project. Go to your own board, and each of the different boards will have links that are appropriate to you. And down here is all the tickets that are assigned to you from the different projects. So you don't have to go into any of the projects if you don't want to. You can just go here and you can click on the different, the ticket you want to work on. So there's no fluffing about trying to find a project or your ticket, because this is one of the default things with Jira. So it makes it really simple if you just don't want to go into any of the projects at all and you just want to work on your own stuff.